So the issues that I was having before I entered treatment were I really was having a hard time focusing because I was binging 2 to 3 times a day, and it was really difficult for me to, even more than the fact that I was gaining weight, it was just the constant feeling of being out of control that even when I would eat, the next thing I would think of was what I was going to eat next. So it just became that food was all I could think about, and it created so much stress and anxiety, and I felt like I was just falling down a rabbit hole and with no way to get out. There are so many levels of what an eating disorder is. And of course, when I went in, I thought it was just that I didn't have any control over what I was eating. But what I learned at Discovery was why I felt out of control with food, not just on a emotional level, but also on a physical level. And the most amazing part about what I learned at Discovery was during meal support, which at first I thought was really kind of silly, but actually ended up being incredible, not only because I got to watch other people struggle, but I also got to see where I had no relationship with my hunger cues. I didn't even know what a hunger cue was. And it was when I realized that I only ate when I was starving and would only stop until I was stuffed that I realized that I was out of control. That they are a corporate round of BS that's created by people who, if they actually had any interest in solving an issue, wouldn't be doing what they were doing. Because if a diet worked, then they would have no customer. So the diet industry is actually invested in you not being successful on your diet, because if you are, then they lost a customer. So I think that diets are just one more corporate marketing scheme that keeps us feeling bad about ourselves, not good enough, and looking for a quick fix in their products. I was an IOP, and so I usually went in the afternoon, but there was some flexibility where I could go mornings, which was really good with my schedule. But there was always some kind of group, processing group, or there was a visit with one of the amazing nutritionists or dietitians, and there was once a week I got to speak one-on-one with a therapist, and then every day there was meal support. And there was always something unique. There was one program that was geared towards the binge eating was learning and understanding DBT, which is the dialectical behavior technique, which was really great. That's actually how I unwound the first time that I realized that binging wasn't just emotional, it was physical. And I would not have been able to come to that conclusion without doing that class. The path to peace starts with not being very peaceful. So it's really hard to imagine that when you're first starting. You can't really, when you're in so much turmoil and there's so much chaos, the whole idea of ever being able to have peace around this just feels like it's never going to happen. So really it just starts with like baby steps, like just doing one thing at a time and really just trusting, making sure that whoever you're working with, you trust them, and that you trust the program that you're doing. And I believe that it is so much harder to do intuitive eating than it is to go on a diet, because going on a diet is just that instant gratification, and it's really hard because when you have to truly practice intuitive eating, you have to not only not diet, which is just right where your brain goes. There's still times my brain goes there first, but I just quickly pull it back. But it's also, you have to address all of the issues around your feelings in your body and whatever's going on with you, because not dieting is so much harder than dieting. And you go into this, you would think the complete opposite. But you are battling every single minute to not diet when you first start doing intuitive eating. And that really was very difficult for me. And even now, like I say, I have that momentary snap where I go, oh yeah, I don't do that. That's bad, that's wrong. But it's so ingrained and such a part of what your legacy is and your lineage and society that it's still something that will pop up even with someone that doesn't even feel it's real. And then the center kind of gives you not just the tools to deal with the crisis in the moment, but if you keep working those tools, you'll keep learning from those tools as you go on. Well, I would say first off, it's not for sissies. Changing your relationship with food is not easy. It's not, and this is where I go back to the dieting. You know, you go on a diet, it's that instant gratification. If you do this, you'll get that. But when you're actually truly making a commitment for yourself to change and alter your relationship, and not just with food, but with yourself, it's a much bigger commitment, because there's nothing that's going to fix it except you doing the work. So if you really are looking for a quick fix, or if you're looking for something that's just there's no magic pill, but if you really are committed to doing the work, that the center will give you the tools to do the work. And that's all it's more the center will give you that partnership. I couldn't have done it alone, and I'm really a self-sufficient, I'm an older person, I'm very self-sufficient, and I just realized at one point, it's like, I've done it all, and I can't do it alone. So trusting who you're working with and understanding that it's not a diet, diets don't work, and that the real transformation comes when you do the work. There's nothing that's going to fix it, only doing the work. Well, first off, every other thought in my head is not what I'm going to eat next, which is completely liberating and is actually giving me more time in my life to think about other things and make other plans and actually address things, not just to better myself, but just to be able to, think about what color I want to paint my living room. It's just having that more freedom with my mind, not being completely obsessed. It's also really made me realize how important it is for anyone that has an understanding of this to start to spread how the culture, especially in the US, has to change around body image. Because I can't look at young girls now and listen to television and hear everything that revolves around how you look and the size of your body, and equating that to beauty or accomplishment. I can't hear that anymore without it distracting me or causing an upset or making me want to go out and say, hey, no, really, you're not a number. You're actually who you are, who your contributions are, and I just really feel like we all need to work together to try to alter that and change that, because society makes us feel this way, but there's a slow turn where society cannot make us feel this way. The Center for Discovery worked for me because it is not a diet, and especially the Binge Eating Disorder program, it focuses on really what's important. It focuses on body image, health, body acceptance, and it focuses more on who you are than what you're trying to become. And I did consider a lot of different programs when I decided to go into treatment, and that's the biggest factor for going to Center for Discovery, is that I wanted to deal with my forever solution, not my right for now solution. And I felt like going into a program that was going to have me weigh my food was not a forever solution. And I wanted to know how I could be happy and not focus on my weight the rest of my life, so that I could have some joy and peace around doing the things that I like to do, like cooking, like eating, like being healthy and hiking, and how I can have all that without having to be obsessed about having to look the way that someone else or some corporation has told me to look. And so that's why I think the Center for Discovery is different than any other eating disorder that I looked into, is because the focus is really more on you're just perfect the way you are, and let's try to figure out how to make you understand that. And that's why I chose the Center for Discovery.